Hey everyone, hope you're all doing great. Welcome back to this Python learning. In this video, I'm going to discuss about, the data structures in Python. Data structures plays a very important role in any programming language. Similarly, even in a Python, we will be discussing about what is a data structure, what are the different types of data structures we have, why do we use them, and how to use them. Well, let's begin. Data structures are basically used to store multiple values of any data type in a single variable. You all know how to store a single value. We just use a variable a equals 10. This is like, assigning single value to a variable. What if my question is store multiple values like 10, 20, 30, 40, and so on? So that's where the concept of data structure comes into picture. There are four different types of data structures that you need to master. One is list, tuple, set, and a dictionary. So these are the four different types of data structures which plays a very important role in a Python, which helps in storing multiple values of any data type in a single variable. Let's explore one by one. Okay, first one is a list. What is list? Any idea what comes to your mind when you see a word like a list? We see like list of items, a list of products, something, right? So list is a data structure which is used to store values of any data type in a single variable. List is one of the data structure which basically helps you in storing multiple values of any data type in a single variable. So now let's explore how to create a list. Creating list is very simple. There are two ways to create a list. One is using a square bracket and separated with a comma, and second method is using list function. One is using square bracket. Within a square bracket, you can mention all the elements and separate them by a comma. And another way is just use a list function. Well, now let's explore, how to implement a list for different questions. So, well, I have my question here. I want you people to create a list to store values like 100, 200, 300, 400, and a 500. So, very simple. Start with a variable. Let's just give a variable name like a equal. The first way to create a list is using square bracket and then start writing your values 100, comma, 200, comma, 300, comma, 400, comma, 500. This is how you create a list. And if you want to display the value of a list, like what is present in a variable, just use a print statement. And what if you want to know what type of an object it is? We know it's a list, but how do you know whether it's a list or a tuple, right? So for that, I'll just use type of A. You know what type of A is going to do? Type of A basically helps you in finding what type of an object it is. It helps you in finding what type of an object it is. So that's an interesting thing about, creating list. You can see here, it gave us a list. And if you check the type of A, it's giving me that it belongs to a class of list. All right, that's great. Now, let me show you the second way of creating a list. Very simple. Let me call B equals, just use a list function. When you call any function, we always call those, common brackets. And within that common bracket, you just pass your values. So here my question is to store values like blue, green, orange, pink. So remember, previously I stored an integers within a list. Now I'm trying to store string values. And we know that whenever you want to define a text type of data in a Python, you should always write them within a quotes. So I'll just say like a blue, comma green, comma orange, comma pink. Okay, now let me try to print B and also let me check the type of B. I just want to know what type of B it is because we know it's a list, but how do you check? How do you confirm that with the help of Python code using type? See here. List has created and it sees that it belongs to a class of list. So similarly, you can also store values of mixed data type even inside a list. Let me create one more list. I'll call C is equal to, I just use a square bracket concept. Okay. And I just want to add, see, if you are defining integers or a numbers or maybe the floats, you write them as it is. Even if it's a complex numbers, 5 plus 70. When you write a boolean, the first letter should always be capital. When you write a string, it should be written within a quotes. These are the different things that you have to remember whenever you want to Define list in order to store multiple values. I want to see what type of it is. And also I want to print it. See, it says it belongs to a class of list. So this is all about a list, and this is how we create, list using square bracket, using comma separation. Another one is using a list function. Hope it's clear. Now let's explore the second type of data structure, which is a tuple. You know what is tuple? Even tuples are also data structures which are used for storing multiple values of any data type. So different ways to create a tuple is, one is using common bracket using comma separation. Second one is using tuple function. Let me show you both the methods. I want to create a tuple now. I'll just call it like, tuple 1 is equal to, or you can give whatever name you want, your wish. Okay, you can give it like XYZ. I'll just call, X is equal to, you can use a common bracket and then just keep calling values that you want to store and try to write them with, comma separation. So now let me try to print X. And also I just want to know what type of data is present in our X. So for that, I'll just use, type of X. Type of X is going to give you what type of data, what type of an object is present in X. So it belongs to a class of tuple. So this is one way of creating a tuple. Let me show you another way, very simple. I'll just call like y is equal to, call your tuple function and just pass the values using extra one bracket. So you have multiple values, right? See like 100, comma, 3.5, comma. You have a sequel. Sequel has to be written within our quotes because it's a string. And then Boolean, which is a false. The first letter should be capital. And then I guess we have a complex number, which is 5 minus 3. Okay, now let me try to print y. And along with that, let me try to check what type of an object it is. Let me just see like a type of file. See? It belongs to a class of tuple. So these are the two different ways to create a tuple. Hope it's clear. All right, now let's explore what is set. What is set? What comes to your mind? You all might have studied about our sets in your lower classes, probably in your math classes, right? So sets are used in order to store distinct values or unique values. Distinct in the sense, let's say you want to store unique values without repetition. In that case, sets plays a very important role. How to create a set? Sets are created using curly braces, and other way around is like, you can just use a set function. Okay. So now let's explore how to create a set in order to store values like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very simple. So let me just call it like, set one is equal to, okay, I'll just use curly braces, and then start writing values using comma separation. Okay, now let me try to print set one so we can see what is available in set one. And also I want to see the type of that set one. So for that, I just call, type function. Type is responsible for knowing what type of an object it is. See, set is created and it belongs to a class of set. It belongs to a class of set. See, great. So now let me show you one more method. I'll just call it like set2 is equal to, just use a set function and then you just need to pass our values. So using curly braces, just pass our values. You have a list of colors here. So let's just pass them: blue, green, orange, and then yellow. Okay, great. Now I just want to display it, so I'll just call it like set2, and also I want to see what type of an object it is. So I'll just use like a type. So type is going to give us, what type of an object is this. It has to say that it belongs to a class of set. Yeah, done. See? Okay, there is one more interesting thing. You can see when you look into our sets, they're not ordered. Basically, they doesn't take a fixed position. Rather, they just take a random places. And one more interesting thing about a set is, set doesn't allow duplicates. Right? Set is used for storing distinct values. That means set doesn't allow sets doesn't allow duplicates. You know how? I'll just show you. See. So let me create one more set. I'll just call it like set3 is equal to. Let me just copy paste all these values, or you can type. I have just repeated few values, right? Now let me try to print set3. Just look at the result. Can you see? So 10 is repeated multiple times, 30 is repeated multiple times, 50 is repeated multiple times. But set takes only one time. It allows only one time. It doesn't include our repetitive values. So that's an interesting thing about, sets. Hope it's clear. Well, this is all about, the sets. Okay, the next interesting data structures that you have to master is basically the dictionaries. You know, Dictionaries are like interesting thing which are basically used for storing information in the form of key value pair. What if you want to store information using key or a value? Key value like colon concept. So that's where the dictionary plays a very important role. So we use a key and we use a value, and different ways to create a dictionary is again you can use curly brace and you can mention key colon value and you can separate multiple things using comma. And second way around is you can just use a concept called as a dictionary function. First, let's explore how to create our dictionary to store name, age, and a salary. Very simple. I'm just storing information, right? Let's call like info is equal to start with the curly braces. And what's the key here? Key should be the name. Okay, key, if it's a text, it should always be written within a string. And then I have to write a value. Value, let me just say rhythm. Okay, comma. I just want to write an age again, age, colon. Age is basically the number, right? So write it as it is. Again, salary. So salary is basically text. Make sure you write it within a quotes, and salary is going to be, let's say, 40,000. This is how you create our dictionary. Now let me try to display what is stored in info, and also let me try to check type of info. Yeah, see. So this is basically the dictionary and it belongs to a class of dictionary. This is one way of creating a dictionary to store values in the form of key and a value. So here name, age, salaries are all keys. Radha 30, 40,000, they're all values. Your keys can be text or it can be numbers or it can be boolean as well. And even your value can take any data type, no restriction. Okay, let me try one more with the help of dictionary function concept. Now I need to create a dictionary in order to store values like this. So very interesting concept, just understand. I'll just call it like, data is equal to. I'll just use dict function, dict, and then I'll just use a curly braces. Within a curly braces, what I'm doing is just understand. Very first one is a skills. So skills colon value is going to be the Python. Great, done with first one. In a second case, the value is going to be 10. You can see values are 10 and key should be, sorry, key is a number. I mean like a 10 and value is basically the text which is number. I'm sorry. 10 is a key, number is a value. So next one is like an employee. Employee is a text. So it should be written within quotes, colon, it's a boolean. So boolean should be written as it is without a quotes. It is true as a boolean. Again, now key is going to be the boolean. Take it as it is a false and it should be 0. See that. So now let me try to print data and also let me try to print the type of data. So it works. This is how you create a dictionary with number as a key, boolean as a key, or you can assign any data type to the values as well. Okay, I hope this is clear. Not just this, even if you have an information, let's say you want to store, let's say you want to add one more, let's say skills, and you want to mention a multiple values. If you want to mention multiple values to a key, what you can do is just use a list and just pass all multiple values using comma separation. Let's say you have a knowledge of Python, you have, Python skills, let's say R skills, and let's say Java. See, like this, you can just list out multiple values um, using key and a value. So we are just using a list format here. Just see, the multiple values can be assigned to the single key. This is all about, dictionary. So this is what you wanted to learn regarding, different data structures in a Python. So in our next video, let's explore, few more topics related to the Python learning. Thank you. Happy learning. If you like my video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment on my video. Thank you. Happy learning.